What's going on, everybody? Good to see you all again. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Joe Law. I'm a former hard rock, metal drummer, lead singer, current singer, songwriter, garage overcleaner, staying busy, doing various things around the house and yard. But things are good, things are well. I hope that you're doing good. Welcome back to this is episode 4 of my Songs and Stories video series. Was going to bring a cover, one of 2 or 3 covers I was thinking of, into this episode, but decided to kind of do a switch this week. I've got somebody on my mind. He's a longtime friend of mine, and him and his family are going through some trouble right now with this evil virus, and unfortunately lost a loved one during this. So my thoughts and everything right now are with him. I'm sending good vibes and prayers to him and his family. He's just been a good friend of mine throughout the years. His name's Ken Hooper, and I'll give you a little background since this is the story part of the episode. So this song that I'm going to play today was written right about a year or so after I graduated high school. And when I was in high school, though, back in Bishop, California, Ken and I met, I think, my senior year. And he worked at the local record shop we had in town. And, back when your hometowns used to have a record store. And, of course, me being me and my buddies, who they were, we all basically lived in that shop, spent several times a week visiting that place, and he was always working behind the counter and offering up these little nuggets of wisdom of music and bands and artists I should check out and albums he thought were great. And he also learned that we had a band, and we were trying to do our thing and be active musicians and tinker around and play shows. And enough of these conversations happened in the back of the shop to where, we eventually got to talking about maybe doing, a recording session or two, and he had some experience with that, and we were kind of noobs when it came to that kind of stuff, and we're basically tracking demos on, handheld cassette voice recorders sitting on top of washing machines. I think we did that at Dugan's house one time. But he had access through the owner of the record store, also a really nice guy, Tim. He basically had this little home studio with all this Pro Tools and gear, and we kind of started talking about doing some sessions. And Ken, being the true solid gold guy that he is, he just spent hours upon hours with us, because we eventually came in and said, we've got about 8 songs we'd like to put down and make a little album out of it, and we're all probably going to go different ways after we graduate, and be nice to kind of have a snapshot of what we did, as a band. And just the only thing we paid Ken was, I think we paid him in Jack in the Box and Coors Light. The guy just endless work, and he was playing some bass tracks for us on the record and producing for us and helping guide our songwriting, so that way the finished product would come out as good as it could and did. I think only probably 25 people in the world have copies of that record that we did, but I still have mine. And I always, when I play it, just close my eyes and think very fondly on those times where it's just a bunch of graduated high school kids that were working with him, and he was such a accomplished musician at that point and had done way more shit than I could even imagine in the music world, and was nice enough to take many hours out of his personal life. But fast forward, before I digress too much, I was in the Navy, and I called him because about, maybe a year or so after I graduated, I was in the Navy in my barracks room, and I finally completed, on my mom's acoustic, I think, I was sitting there, and I finally completed my own, straight from my head, first complete song that I felt I was proud of it. And of course, when you do that, the first thing you want to do is go run to a studio or somebody that can do a demo for you and try to get it captured, so that way you have something to reflect on. So I was looking for a reason to get out of town, and Bishop's about 5 or 6 hours drive from San Diego, where I was stationed in the Navy, and basically just called Ken up, didn't know what his schedule, his work situation was like, and of course Ken being Ken, made all the time in the world for me and said, you come up this weekend, we'll find a way to get it done. So I put my guitar in the truck and drove 6 hours north to Bishop, and I think we used one of the rooms in the house he was renting as our little recording studio space. But of course Ken had all the mics and gear, and more importantly the know-how of how to get it done. And I had the idea of this song, and I think I might have brought a cover song I wanted recorded with it to make it a worthwhile session, but this was the main one I wanted to do. And we just basically got some beer and recorded this thing, and he once again lent his songwriting wisdom to me, and producing, and I think he threw a really killer bass line on the recording that we got, and had a fun time, had some laughs, just kicked it and hung out and caught up with each other. And I basically, that Sunday morning, hightailed it out of there and headed back to San Diego. I still have the exact same CDR that he burnt me, the version that we came up with, and I listen to it from time to time, and it still sounds pretty good. I've changed the song a little bit a couple of times, but I just really wanted to do this for this episode because hopefully if you're watching Ken, I always reflect really fondly on the recording time spent and all those Jack in the Box runs and tweaking of this chorus, and we could do that take better. He always told us we could do better, we could do one more better, we had it in us to do better, and I still carry that kind of mentality whenever I go into a recording session these days. If I don't love it 100%, it's like his voice in the back of my head saying, you got another one in you, you can do it a little better than that. So much love, my friend. This one I'm going to do for you is that song, but before we do that, the beer of the day here is a Goose Island IPA, pretty typical beer here that you'll find pretty much everywhere. Chicago, that's where they're from, that's right. And it's pretty good, it's pretty mild, nothing terribly exciting, but it's not bad. What cold beer is bad? I think all good, right? Okay, so I did tweak the intro on this a little bit, so pardon me if I've got to start and restart, or stop and restart. Alright, so this is called Addiction. If I was your your addiction? Am I your addiction? Am I your addiction? Alright, that's all, folks. Go ahead and leave your comments below, your feedback. Thanks to all of you that continue to watch these episodes. It's fun for me to do. It's a lot of good times just getting in my garage and have an excuse to start my day with a beer. I usually do these about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so nice little afternoon chill session. Yeah, so let me know how you're all doing, if everything's going good in your world, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace out.